Good afternoon. This is Lunchtime News here on TV1, bringing you the news. I am Ruhaza Irfan. Before we move on to our bulletin, here's a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
Chinese research and survey vessel Yuan Wang 5 dock at Hambantota. Is a former president travelling overseas using public funds?
මගද ලංකාවේ ජනාධිපතිවරණ පනතට අනුව රටේ සිටපු ජනාධිපතිවරයාත් ඉන්න ජනාධිපතිවරයාටත් හිමි වරදාන වරප්‍රසාද පිළිබඳ නීතිමය විධිවිධාන තිබෙනවා.
New committee to approve appointments to top positions. Fishermen in Chilao protest demanding kerosene. Power cuts extended to 3 hours. Shooting in Dadella and body washes ashore in Ratmalana.
Now on to your top story this afternoon. Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe has appointed a committee that will have to be consulted for prior approval when appointing or changing chairman and director for public corporation and statutory boards. This committee will be chaired by Secretary to the President Saman Ekanayake and will include Secretary to the Prime Minister Andra Dissanayake and Secretary to the Cabinet WMDJ Fernando. Additional Secretary to the President Daminda Karuratne will serve as the Secretary to the committee. Accordingly, it will be made mandatory to obtain prior approval from this committee with reasons for justification when the chairman, director of the government institutions has to be changed. Moving on, the Chinese tracking vessel Yuan Wang 5 docked at the Chinese-built Hambantota port in Sri Lanka's deep south. The vessel will remain in Hambantota for a period of 7 days for replenishment purposes.
The Yuan Wang 5 entered the Hambantota deep sea port at around 8:30 a.m. Tuesday. Yuan Wang 5 is a third-generation tracking ship of the Yuan Wang series. It has top-of-the-line antennas and electronic equipment to track ballistic missiles and satellite. A special welcome ceremony was organized at the Hambantota port this morning under the auspices of the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka. Former Sri Lankan ministers were among those present for the event.
Member of Parliament, Social and Cultural Corporation.
Hambantota 港是中斯共建“一带一路”的重点合作项目，也是两国友谊的象征，也已成为助力斯里兰卡经济复苏、增强自主能力的重要引擎。你们的到访，为庆祝中斯建交65周年和米交协定签署70周年，留下了浓墨重彩的一笔。虽然你们经历的印度洋风浪较以往有所不同，但最终踏平坎坷成大道，彰显了你们的勇气、坚韧和无往不胜，彰显了传统中斯友好根深蒂固、历久弥坚。
Although the land is Sri Lanka, it is the sky and the ocean that links us with the world. There is an area of ocean and the skies that belong to us. We as a state bear responsibility for that area. The Indian Ocean region must remain a region of peace. There can be no conflict. It cannot be home to enemy camps. Even if we are strong or weak economically, we need to maintain that stance. Some call this vessel a spy ship. We call it a communication vessel. As the vessel was granted approval, it must be allowed to enter Sri Lanka. That was the position of our political party leaders.
Presence of Yuan Wang 5 is a symbol of the independence and sovereign power of Sri Lanka. A controversy was unnecessarily raised about the arrival of Yuan Wang 5. And it was also a machination of the Western powers headed by US. We hope this friendship, the long-lasting friendship, cannot be torpedoed by any kind of machinations of imperialism.
We need the support and blessings of all our international friends for us to recover sooner or later. We hope and request China, our long-standing friend, to assist us in restructuring our debts and secure an IMF bailout as soon as possible and provide with some meaningful bridging finance. If we have the support, blessings and understanding of the international community, and particularly our Chinese friend, it will become a great step forward in resettling Sri Lanka's economy, which will eventually benefit our creditors and investors and the citizens alike. I consider this special occasion as another opportunity to cement and consolidate the long and cherished bonds that have existed between our two civilizations.
The Yuan Wang 5 will remain in Hambantota for a period of 7 days for replenishment purposes.
The controversial Yuan Wang 5, the Chinese vessel, arrived in Sri Lanka earlier today. I am in the Hambantota port, where a small ceremony was held earlier today to welcome this ship and its crew, particularly several dignitaries, including parliamentarians of the 11 constituent parties, including Vimal Weeravansha and Vasudeva Nanayakkara, were present at this event, along with the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, His Excellency Ki Zhen Hong. Now, this ceremony was held a short while ago. Amidst all of this, in terms of geopolitics in the region, India has expressed their concern in terms of security and economic interests in the region. However, China says the allegations, the accusations of India is senseless. I'm Senitha Senanayaka, together with Mahinda Gamage, reporting for News First.
Journalists raised questions following concerns regarding the Chinese ship during the cabinet media briefing today.
We got planes from India yesterday. A Chinese ship arrived today. Isn't this a bilateral collision?
චීන නෞකාවට පැමිණෙන්න අවසරය ලබා දීලා තිබුණා.
We allowed the Chinese ship to dock here. India had a few concerns regarding the matter. We requested the Chinese ship to delay its course till we sorted out those matters. In this matter between China and India, we have allowed the Chinese government to enjoy the same facilities we provide everyone else. Sri Lanka is following a neutral path, where we treat everyone equally, regardless of which. It's the same for India, Pakistan or even America. Each country is equally important to us. They have helped us in the past. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and his ministry have taken careful steps to maintain friendly relations with all nations that support us.
සබෙදී පිළිවෙතක් තමයි ලංකාව අනුගමනය කරන්නේ. මේ හැම රටක්ම අපිට ඊටම අතිශයින් වැදගත් විශාල වශයෙන් ඉතිහාසයේ පුරාම උදව් කරලා තියෙනවා. මිත්‍ර රටවල් සමග ගැටුම් ඇති නොවන ආකාරයට කටයුතු කරන්නට විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශය හා අමාත්‍යතුමා වගකීමකින් ක්‍රියා කරලා තියෙනවා.
Cabinet spokesperson Minister Bandulu Gunawardena told reporters today that former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is entitled to use public funds. At the weekly cabinet media briefing, journalists questioned who is funding the former president's overseas travel. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Bandulu Gunawardena said that any former president and sitting president are entitled to perks and privileges as per the Presidential Elections Act of Sri Lanka. The former Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who fled overseas to escape protest against his government, arrived in Thailand last week on from a flight to Singapore, where he had been staying from mid-July. Moving on, fishermen in Chilau staged a protest demanding kerosene. Fishermen from Chilau claim that they have not been able to engage in their trade and set out to sea for almost 3 months due to the absence of fuel to power their boats and vessels. Sri Lanka has decided to extend the daily power cuts to 3 hours per day, citing malfunction at the generator 1 of the Norotchole power plant. The Ceylon Electricity Board said it would take approximately 8 days to inspect the malfunction generator 1.
The Norotchole coal power plant comprises 3 generators and each one generates 300 megawatts with an output of 900 megawatts to the national grid. A portion of the generated electricity was used for operations at the Norotchole coal power plant, and one generator could only add 270 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. When generator 1 malfunctioned on Monday the 15th, generator 2 was already out of service for essential maintenance. Therefore, the national grid is short of 540 megawatts from the Norotchole coal power plant. An official from the Ceylon Electricity Board said in order to inspect the generator 1, the engineers must wait for around a week until it cools down. At present, 60% of the electricity demand is met using hydropower plants. According to the Public Utilities Commission, regions A2L and P2W will have power outages of 1 hour and 40 minutes during the day and 1 hour and 20 minutes during the night, where there will be a total power outage that will amount to 3 hours a day. The CEB issued a statement saying they expect things to return to normalcy within the course of the next 2 weeks.
Sri Lankan farmers have been battered by severe economic crisis and a massive fertilizer shortage. However, the farmers are continuing with their cultivation despite the hardships.
Sri Lankan farmers in Polonnaruwa managed to cultivate around 200 acres of paddy land for the Yala season in the Swarnapali Gama area close to the Parakrama Samudra. The farmers pointed out that they commenced farming in the absence of any form of fertilizer. Farmers have gone to great lengths to cultivate their lands with zero agrochemicals. Some paddy lands have reached the harvest reaping season. However, the farmers point out that they are not receiving a proper price for this harvest.
The Lanka Confectionery Manufacturers Association said that the rise in price of raw materials had led to the increase in prices of biscuit and related products. Executive Director of the association, Ashoka Bandara, said the price of raw materials used in the product, mainly sweets, wheat flour, vegetable oil, sugar, have been increased almost 200% over the last few months. He said unless the prices of their products were not increased in line with the increase in raw materials, they could not continue with their business. They said that the price of a kilo of wheat flour, which is the main ingredient used in the production for sweet, has increased by 277% from 77 rupees to 290 rupees. He went on to note that the price of a kilo of sugar has increased by 180% from 114 rupees to 320 rupees, and the price of vegetable oil has increased by 195 rupees from 475 rupees to 1,400 rupees. Up next is Crime Watch.
Crime Watch.
A motorcycle gunman opened fire in Piyadigama Dadalla. Sri Lanka police said the target of the gunman was another person. However, no one was injured. The gunman had fled the area after carrying out the shooting, and police investigations are underway.
Crime Watch.
The body of an unidentified male had been washed up the shore of Ratmalana on Tuesday, close to Alvis Gardens. Sri Lanka police said the body is of a man believed to be around 50 years old. The Mount Lemelia police is conducting investigations.
Crime Watch.
The Ministry of Health points out that the number of COVID-19 cases has increased tenfold compared to the last 4 months. Deputy Director General of Public Health Services, Dr. Hemantha Herath, said that it is paramount to follow health guidelines.
With the identification of 129 COVID-19 positive cases yesterday, the total number of positive cases in Sri Lanka has increased to 668,141. 3 COVID-19 related deaths were reported yesterday, and the total death toll stands at 16,624. The Ministry of Health stated that the total number of recoveries increased to 650,166.
Britain, the first country to approve the coronavirus vaccine in late 2020, has now also given the first green light to a variant-adapted shot that targets both the original and Omicron version of the virus.
The UK Medicines Regulatory gave the so-called bivalent vaccine made by US drug company Moderna conditional approval as a booster for adults on Monday. Later yesterday, the UK Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation backed the use of the variant-adapted shot in the country's booster campaign starting September. Moderna in June said trial data showed that when given as a fourth dose, the variant-adapted shot raised virus-neutralizing antibodies by 8-fold against the Omicron.
China has said it is blacklisting 7 Taiwan officials over their alleged support for the self-ruled island's independence.
The group will be banned from entering mainland China and territories such as Hong Kong. According to Chinese media, they are restricted from working with Chinese officials. 7 officials targeted by Beijing includes Bi Kim, Taiwan's representative in the United States. Beijing claims Taiwan as its own and has not ruled out the use of force to take control of the territory. Taiwan's foreign ministry said in response to the sanctions that the island was a democracy that could not be interfered with by China.
The Bureau of the FIFA Council has unanimously decided to suspend All India Football Federation with immediate effect due to undue influence from third parties, which constitutes a serious violation of the FIFA status.
In order to set up a committee of administrators to assume the powers of the AIFF Executive Committee has been repealed, and the AIFF administration regains full control of the AIFF's daily affairs. The suspension means that the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup 2022, scheduled to take place in India from 11th to 30th October, cannot currently be held in India as planned. FIFA is assessing the next steps with regard to the tournament and will refer the matter to the Bureau of the Council if and when necessary. FIFA is in constant constructive contact with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports in India and is hopeful that a positive outcome to this case may still be achieved.
And that's a wrap of lunchtime news here on TV1. For more of these stories, you can log on to our website, which is www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First team, I am Luhaza Irfan. Thank you for watching.
ඇත්ත කෙටියෙන් දත්ත වැඩියෙන් සයිබර් අවකාශය කළඹන වුවත් සලකුණ News First YouTube channelය අදම subscribe කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග